Okay, what's up, guys? Yeah, you guys was one of you guys is blowing up the comment sections with this video, the eighth floor, creepypasta, uploaded by Creepypasta Junior. Like, I just want to let people know right now, like, before I get into this video, I seen the first comment. I don't know how many times I gotta say that in like almost every video where I'm like, look, I read the comments, I see them. When I get a chance to, I will react to the video. You guys ain't gotta like spam the comments or every time I upload leave the same comment. I seen the comment. I know that. I know I need to react to this video. I try to get each and every video done. Okay? Each and every video done. I say if anything, like give it a few days, right? Give it a few days. I will let you know, like, hey, reacted to it, or I will get to it. But I'm like, just chill. It's gonna be all right. All right. It's gonna be okay. I will get to the video when I get to it. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and get into this video. Let's see what the eighth floor is all about. Dang it. Hold up. There we go. Oh yeah, but make sure you guys go subscribe to Creepypasta for more videos like this. Now, let's get into the video. Felt like I didn't say that.
I was staying at a hotel in Chicago, Illinois during a business trip, and I was going to stay for the whole weekend. It was an older hotel, one that still used small keys rather than keycards to enter the rooms. I didn't mind. It seemed like a nice getaway from the onslaught of
It's like
technology.
you staying in a hotel that looks like that. You don't need to be at that hotel. Just gonna say that right now, just for everyone's safety.
When I checked into the hotel, it was completely packed. A nasty storm had rolled in, stranding many tourists and canceling flights. No more rooms were available, and many people were being turned away because of the lack of vacancy. When I approached the front desk to check in, I noticed that all the keys for the rooms on the 8th floor were still on the wall. Not a single key was missing.
Huh.
Seemed odd that an entire floor would be vacant when so many people were all clambering to check in and get their rooms. I could see the clerk was stressing out and he was ready to just give up and go home, so I tried to lighten the mood a little bit. Kinda weird, isn't it?
It's like that should have been clear. This video honestly would have been, it would have been just 1 minute. Cause I had to like, yeah, the first thing I said, I'm like, yeah, it's like I go in here from a nasty storm. All of a sudden, I just see all of the eighth floor keys are still on the wall. I had left the hotel. It might have just been that eighth floor that would have been haunted or something would have been wrong with it. But I would have left that hotel. No, the hotel. If the eighth floor is haunted, what makes you think that the rest of the hotel isn't going to be haunted? It's that hotel ain't right. I'm saying if it looks like that, then you got a whole floor that just nobody in like, and then everybody else is. I'm like, bro. I'm like, I wouldn't have stayed there. I took my chances out in that storm.
What is? The clerk asked. How everybody on the 8th floor is missing. The clerk gave me an odd look and his face paled. What do you know about the 8th floor? He replied in a serious tone. What? Oh, nothing, I answered honestly, a little embarrassed that my attempt to lighten the mood backfired. I just noticed that all the keys for the 8th floor were still behind the desk. The clerk blushed a little and tried to laugh it off. Oh yes, I see now. He went back to checking me in and handing me my keys to the room on the 9th floor. Enjoy your stay. I will. Thanks. I awkwardly accepted the key and grabbed my bag, heading for the elevator.
Sound like some Stephen King
Just
stuff's
like the
about to
lobby,
happen.
the elevator was also packed. It was difficult to stand next to so many strangers so close by, let alone enter and exit a small car. I struggled to reach and press the button for the 9th floor, but I managed to see over the crowd of people and reach the button panel. It was then that I noticed that the button seemed to be missing a floor. 8. That's funny, I thought out loud. I wonder why there's no button for the 8th floor. But no one in the elevator reacted.
Doing the wrong investigation.
They either didn't care or they were too preoccupied and didn't hear me. Once I finally got to my floor, I checked into my room. I took a moment to relax and unwind on the bed. I had to give a presentation tomorrow and I needed to be alert. I decided to go to bed early that night and to practice my speech a few times to make sure I sounded confident. I took a shower, brushed my teeth, and stood in front of the bathroom mirror as I practiced my sales pitch a few times. A strange groaning sound from the room beneath me got my attention.
Oh,
It sounded like there was a man in pain or upset. I ignored it and continued my practicing.
exactly what you're supposed to do.
The groaning from the lower floor continued on, growing louder and louder by the minute.
That's why I just put my headphones in, just like play. I played Slackjaw Caught in the Crossfire, and yeah, would have overall just nope, not going to hear anything that's going on down. But I'm like, yeah, there's all the keys are still there, right? All the keys are still there at the on the like lobby floor at the behind the desk. So would that make any sense to hear a voice? If he goes down there and investigates, this dude, something's wrong with him. He's crazy.
Angrily, I stomped on the floor as hard as I could and shouted, "Hey, buddy, you okay down there?" There was no response, and the groaning had stopped. Satisfied that the man realized he was making too much noise, I continued to practice my speech. Just as I finished the first half of my speech, the groaning began again. But this time it was much louder and angrier. If this was going to go on all night, there was no way I'd be prepared for my presentation tomorrow.
Headphones, bro. Headphones.
So I knocked on my neighbor's door and was greeted with a grumpy response from a young woman and her new husband. "Excuse me." I politely tried to engage in conversation. "Do you guys hear that noise in the room below us?" "No." The woman sounded more confused than grouchy at this point. "We haven't heard anything until you pounded on our door." "Oh,
All right, cool.
sorry.
So
I
I'm leaving.
apologize once again."
yeah, I would have left. There's no at that point. I'm like, yeah, I'm only hearing this man and nobody. I would have left. There's no reason for me to still continue to be there. I don't know why people feel like, oh yeah, this video's gone on for 16 minutes for what reason? Why? Because this man, he most likely gonna go down there and investigate. I don't understand why people do stuff like that. I really don't. But I'm like, you will not ever, ever get that from me. If I'm staying, maybe if it's like one of them, like, you know, like for Halloween or something, you know, you staying in a haunted hotel. Cool, fine. I'm cool with that. Because it's haunted. But yeah, if this is like all of a sudden, yeah, it's like in the middle of January, and then yeah, this hotel there, no 8th floor, none of that. I'm like, look, I'm like, I ain't gonna see them twins from The Shining, and they all like, come play with us, Tyler. I'm like, nope, I'm leaving. Jumped out the window, and I've been gone. 8th floor and everything.
Feeling embarrassed. Must be the pipes of something then.
It's not.
I tried to think of a possible alternate explanation so I didn't seem like a crazy person. "Well, I'll just call management then. Sorry. Have a good night." The couple shut the door and locked it. I returned to my room where the groaning noise continued. I picked up the phone on the small table next to the bed and called the front desk to complain about the noise. When I mentioned that it seemed to be coming from a room beneath me, a room on the 8th floor, the man who answered the phone suddenly got quiet. "Sir, there's no one checked in that room. It must be someone on the 9th floor." No.
No?
I tried to sound confident. "It's not coming from the walls. It's coming from the floor below me." "Well..." The man sounded rattled, and I could sense that he was trying to think of an explanation just to get me to hang up. "I'll call in the maintenance crew. It's probably just a leaky pipe or a problem with the heating ducts." "Yeah, I'm sure it is," I said as I hung up the phone, not believing him for an instant. The groaning was growing louder and angrier by the minute. I put my hands to my ears to try and block out the sound, but it wasn't enough. I walked back into the bathroom and turned on the shower and the sink full blast, hoping the running water would drown out the noise, and it only helped a little bit. I sat on the bathroom floor trying to think of a way to get some sleep, but I didn't have any other options. All the rooms were full, I couldn't request a new room, and there was no way another hotel would have any vacancy during this storm. Suddenly, the pipes on the shower began rattling violently. The shaking was so strong that it caused the shower to sputter as it continued to run. The sound was like thunder inside the walls, and combined with the thunder outside the hotel as well as the pouring rain, sounded like there was a freight train barreling down the tracks right at me. I left my room, grabbing my keys and my phone. I made my way to the elevator so I could lodge a complaint in the lobby. As soon as I stepped inside the elevator, I remembered that the 8th floor couldn't be accessed. The number wasn't an option. I then remembered that all the keys for the 8th floor were still behind the desk at the lobby. How could anyone check into a room on the 8th floor? Curious, I exited the elevator and made my way for the stairs. I walked down the stairwell from the 9th floor and directly onto the 7th. But that's impossible, I told myself. I walked back up the stairs and double-checked the floor number. Sure enough, just like the elevator, there was no floor 8. I walked up and down the staircase a few times trying to figure out what was going on. When I noticed a small imperfection on the wall next to the doorway that led onto the 7th floor. I checked and realized that it was a gap.
Wow.
A gap between a hidden door and its door frame. Using my fingertips, I pried open the door and found a small staircase leading back up one flight.
Why does this look like the same like hotel like hallway of the Overlook Hotel from The Shining? Like it was funny. It's funny that I mentioned them twins and then was like then this kind of looks like the
up to the
hallway.
otherwise non-existent 8th floor. It was dark and dusty, like no one had used this passageway in years. I used the screen on my phone to light my way as I made my way up through the secret staircase. There was another door at the top of the stairs. It wasn't sealed away or hidden. It was actually easily accessible. The door was numbered 8. Opening the door, I found myself on the 8th floor and alone. I could just feel it. There was no one else on this floor with me. It was dark in the long hallway.
It's like something's gonna be on that floor with them, and it ain't gonna be no regular human.
Not even the exit signs were lit up. I continued to use my phone as I walked down the hallway, checking each door as I passed. They were all locked, that is, except for one door.
It's like what, room
The
237?
unlocked door was for the room directly beneath mine. I knocked once, just trying to make sure no one was secretly checked into the room, but no one replied. I opened the door, still trying to figure out why this door was the only one unlocked, and found myself standing in a room that mirrored my own perfectly. The lights didn't work. I tried the switch a few times, but there was no power on this floor. I don't know what compelled me to call out, but I did. Hello? Is anyone in here? Nothing responded.
And rightfully so.
I went over to the phone and picked it up, but the line was dead. The amount of dust and cobwebs told me that there was no one in this room, and no one had been for quite some time, but I still felt the need to look around. I opened the door to the bathroom, and was taken aback by what I saw in the room. There was a bathtub in the room, unlike mine which had a shower, but the tub was full of water. The water was at the top of the tub, threatening to spill over at any moment. I stepped closer, still using my phone to light my way, when I noticed a dark figure in the tub. It looked like a man.
It's like it better be Wesley Snipes.
Dead.
Because that's
man.
the only dark figure. That's the only dark figure that I can ever think of. And I'm like, and if I highly doubt that Wesley Snipes is gonna be staying in the same hotel as me.
It looked like a man. A dead man.
Yeah.
Shining my phone over the tub, and I stared down into the still water as if in a trance, trying to look at the dead man's face. As my senses slowly came back to me, the man's eyes opened and he looked directly at me. I fell back onto the floor, dropping my phone and losing my light. A splash came from the tub, and I could feel cold
Oh,
water
nah.
spilling onto the floor, soaking my
Nah.
clothes. The sound of a heavy, wet footstep exited the tub. The second footstep was all the motivation I needed to get up and run.
Yep.
I bolted from my room, not caring about my phone or who the man was, and ran down the hall back through the door from whence I came. I ran down the stairs all the way down to the lobby and didn't stop until I collided with the front desk. Breathlessly, I tried to tell the clerk what I had seen, and that we needed to call the police. The clerk, who looked scared, not so much because there was a dead body in the hotel, but more like he was afraid of getting fired, escorted me to the manager's office behind the desk. Sir, the clerk tried to sound calm and reassuring. What did you see exactly?
I'm like, look, I seen Wesley Snipes. No, I wouldn't have said Wesley Snipes. I'm like, I seen somebody of a dark complexion, all right, knowing that they probably most likely wasn't alive, but all of a sudden they eyes open. I'm like, yeah, at that point I would have been, I don't know. I feel like if I would have made it this far to where if I did do something, knowing I would never do any wild stuff like that, but if I did, I would be so furious and upset. I'm like, nah, like, I want my money back. You guys is calling the cops. Like, if you guys got to take out that whole floor, do that. But that's not normal for people to be off up in floors crying and moaning. They look dead and all that stuff.
I told him what I had
That's not
seen
normal.
and what I had heard. I showed him the wet spots on my clothing where the tub's water splashed onto me. I didn't care if I got arrested for trespassing or causing a disturbance. I had to tell someone what had happened to me.
Yeah.
The clerk listened intently to my story, not blinking, not looking away. When I finished, he got up and walked over to a large filing cabinet. He opened an unmarked drawer and began thumbing through an extensive collection of files. Pulling a file from the drawer, he opened it up and pulled out a very old newspaper article. "Is this the man you saw?" he asked as he handed me the article. I looked at the clipping and felt my stomach drop. It was him. That was the man. The clerk sat down across from me and smiled a little bit. "You're not the first to have seen him." That was not the reaction I was expecting. "Read the article," he said. The article told the story of a man who had gone away on business and returned home to discover that his pregnant wife had been cheating on him and that the baby wasn't his. Heartbroken and betrayed, the man checked into the hotel and never left his room. He was heard crying and wailing in heartbreak for 3 days before he finally stopped. When the maid entered his room to clean, she found his body in the bathtub. He had taken his own life.
That's crazy.
Drowning himself after ingesting many sleeping pills. Is this why you won't let anyone check in on the 8th floor? Because of him? I asked, feeling more at ease knowing that I wasn't crazy. No, the clerk admitted. He's only one of the reasons we don't let anyone check in on the 8th floor.
Is there more to it?
What do you mean? The clerk just smirked again. See that filing cabinet? Yeah. And that unmarked drawer at the bottom? Yes. I answered again. What of it? That drawer contains every reason we don't let anyone check in on the 8th floor. Ever since this hotel opened in 1873, we've had people die in very unusual ways. Always on the 8th floor.
Nope.
That's strange, I commented, feeling a little queasy. What's stranger is the fact that no two deaths were the same, and no two deaths ever took place in the same room.
Huh.
Each room on the 8th floor has housed a tragic death, and each room has been reportedly haunted by the dead. Hearing this sent a shiver up my spine. What? How? Are you trying to tell me the 8th floor is cursed? Anyone who checks into a room is going to die or be haunted. The clerk simply bowed his head. It's not just the rooms that have seen death. Maintenance workers have died attempting simple repairs. One man was electrocuted while trying to fix the lights. Another fell down the elevator shaft to his death. A maid was found dead, hanging by her neck at the end of the hallway.
This is that stuff, man, where I'm all like, you guys should have closed down, tore down the hotel, rebuilt it, did something, because that's not normal. That's not normal. I don't care what anybody says, but I'm like, they having like a calm, cool, collected conversation talking about 13 ghosts and things on the 8th floor. No, I'm not like that's. I'm going. Yeah, I'm like I definitely have fought the manager and the clerk guy, and then at that point I grabbed my stuff and then just went and left because I'm like, nah, if you guys got a whole floor that's haunted, everybody done died in these floors and rooms, and I'm like, nah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
I sat transfixed in fear at the story the clerk had just told me, and I didn't know what to believe.
It's crazy.
But shouldn't we call the police? I saw a body. Everyone does. The clerk explained. Even the police have seen the bodies, but have never been able to explain the situations.
Y'all ain't never tried to
I
call
didn't know
no,
what
like,
to do.
preacher or something.
It was late. I was
or
exhausted.
Priest, preacher, you know.
And I
somebody.
didn't want to cause any more disturbances. Reluctantly, I returned to my room. I took the elevator and held my breath as the car passed by the sealed-off 8th floor. As I was approaching my room, I noticed something wet on the floor outside my door. It was my cell phone.
Wow.
The one that I had dropped on the 8th floor.
It's a nice ghost. He brought his phone back. That's nice of him. Is that it? I believe that was it. So yeah. Yeah, that was some wild stuff. I definitely would have I left. That as soon as I seen all that stuff, I just grabbed my stuff and left. I'm like, I ain't got no business to be off up in the 8th floor. They're hanging out with 13 ghosts, the freaking Patrick Swayze and all them guys. I'm like, nah, I'm cool where I'm. Yeah, I just slept in my car. Just went, found me a parking lot and just slept in it. I'm like, just had to listen. I would rather listen to the thunder, rain, and all that stuff than to hear some ghost man crying and he ain't even there. Like, yeah, I'm like, that's not normal. That is not normal at all. So, yeah. Definitely would have left that night. Wouldn't have came back either. If I had to leave all my stuff there, I did that. Just grabbed my phone, couple of underwear, and a t-shirt, and I'd been like, I'm out of here. I am gone. You ain't gonna ever have to worry about me coming back here again. But yeah, that was a pretty good video. Shout out to Creepypasta for more video. Creepypasta Jr. Shout out to him. This video was uploaded, dang, 3 years ago. It's an old video, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, like I said, make sure you guys go subscribe to Creepypasta for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.